What's up, guys? I know it's been a couple of days. I needed to take a couple steps back from this case because after the documents and the body cam and some of the footage, and then people talking about the complaints Brian's making while he's in his new home, completely overlooking a couple of facts, right? A couple of facts. I see so many people overlooking the fact that he had a wonderful relationship with his parents. And two, he has autism, ASD, and the state even proved that. So they told us that. It wasn't just Ann Taylor, right? So the state brought their own person in, and I want to ask people, do you guys know what autism really is? Now, there are some reports that the part of the brain that autism works with, you cannot lie. I mean, there are reports that the part of your brain that the autism, it makes it where it's, let's say, hard to tell a lie. Now, they're trying to get me to believe, and this is why I had to take a couple of steps back. I was going to write this and do this, and then I said, you know what? I need Ann Taylor. Okay? I need Ann Taylor to come aboard and start coming out and telling us what the fuck happened. So, we have BK in prison writing grievances and complaints, and we have some creators who are maybe not laughing at him, but completely overlooking, and the fact that, well, if he were such a criminal and such a rotten person and such a person to where all of these little complaints that were against him that have been really debunked, would he be writing these grievances? How many criminals, I mean, I don't know many that read policy books. And this could be a new way, because my new journey here in sobriety, if let's just call it recovery, is about imagine if we did follow these policies and everything, because there's creators out there that are saying, well, the world doesn't just work like that. There's a policy book, there's guideline books, there's rules in place, but the world doesn't work like that. Let me repeat that, because I don't think you guys picked up that last part. So there are guidelines, there are policy books, there's a system in place for just about every institution, right, in our society. Businesses have guideline books, policy books. You can write grievances, whatever the case may be, right, in whatever we are doing. So he's there writing grievances. So you have some creators who are calling him such a bad person, but here's a guy, well, not just saying a bad person, they're saying the world doesn't work that way. The world doesn't follow these rules and policies. This is a different world. So these policies and grievances are not really followed. So that's what some creators are saying. Now, these are guilters. Basically, that's what they're called. So forgive me. I know there's pro-burgers, guilters, blah, blah, blah. So under the guilters, there are guilters saying that, there's policies, and Brian's writing these grievances and stuff like that. And the world just doesn't work that way. I've been in a penitentiary before. I've been to prison. It's a different world. Yeah, so have I. I get it. I know. However, why are these policies in place? Why are rules in place? Why do we have to even pay income taxes then, right? Let's really break this down. And I know somebody's going to be out there and say, Jimmy, that has nothing to do with this tragedy, right? But it does. Because a lot of what we've been fed and told has been a lie. And as I mentioned almost 3 years ago, I just felt this was a political case. Regardless, Joe Biden was in office. I felt something funny was happened here with this. And I think that they didn't realize that the globe would be watching this and care about 4 college students who were brutally attacked, right? But then I thought, why wouldn't they? How wouldn't they realize that us in America, at least, and around the globe, wouldn't care? Why would they think, like, we wouldn't just care about 4 innocent kids? Like, it would just gloss right over. Oh, in the news today, there was an attacker that came into a small, quiet college town and tragically unalived 4 innocent students. And how did this happen? Oh my gosh. So they thought that wouldn't catch on. Really? So they seem to have to backpedal since day one, because something seems to already have been a predisposition here. Okay? And this is why we need Ann Taylor to come out and speak. So you have Brian in a cell. You have Ann Taylor, who was saying, not only was saying that he's innocent, my client's innocent, giving him the shoulder taps. I see all you other creators talking about this, but it's seemingly caring way that she was going about even making her claims and her hearings. When you hear her speak compared to Ashley Jennings, I believe I did a few skits on that, like how Ann Taylor was so, like, not only educated, but, you know, the way she spoke and the way she put things. And then the judge was like, you know, and I'm talking about Hippler. John Judge just looked like he didn't know what to do. He just, or it was already a predetermined thing, and he's looking at her like, you know, I can't really, you know, you're telling me this stuff, and how am I supposed to go with you on this when I already have? So we're gonna grant the only win for the defense and get this case out of here. You know, which a lot of us thought that was a win. Like, oh yeah, we got this out of Latah. So Brian is going to have a much easier time finding a jury of his own peers to give him a fair trial outside of Latah County. So a lot of people thought that was a huge win for Ann Taylor. And let me backpedal 1 second. If you noticed, a lot of people on the media were saying, Brian thinks he's smart, he's going to ask the judge. Brian was not representing himself. Ann Taylor was. Okay? But for some reason, they were trying to mix this into like it was Brian doing it. So now we got this guy writing these grievances, and then we have some creators talking about, like, this isn't how the world works, this isn't how jail works. I could just see Brian's in his thing, following the policies, reading it, and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, he's even admitting that, you know, there's flooding going on, and he's not part of it. Let me say that again. He's admitting that there is this criminal activity going on because people have escaped because of intentional flooding in the cells. Okay? And he admits that, listen, I'm not part of this. I need to go somewhere else. Please get me out of here. Does that sound like a mass murderer? And then we gloss over the ASD. Go look that up first before, you know, I think people are missing this, okay? Let's go see if Ted Bundy wrote any grievances while he was on death row and see if he did, what were the grievances about, okay? If any. Did BTK write any grievances? Were any of these other murderers writing grievances about their food, their arrangement? And then, you know, really just not wanting to be a part of what's going on the tier.